Okay, Mike, Carlos, welcome again to this session. And thank you, everybody who is joining today. Let us know your comments, questions via chat. Raise your hand if you want to interject. Use the chat if you need help. So let's get started. Thank you very much. Carlos, on to you.
Well, hello, everyone. Thanks, Marciano, for the introduction, for inviting me here. It's a great honor to be here talking with a legend of this instrument that we all love. That's the drum set. And well, I'm very glad to have everyone here. And well, let's start. Mike Terrana with everyone.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
As Marciano was saying, Mike is best known for having worked with a lot of people inside a heavy metal scene, hard rock scene. He was drummer for, I don't know, for like six, seven years for Tarja Turunen. He was drummer for the German band Rage. You've worked with guitar players like Yngwie Malmsteen, Steve Lukather, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. So, well, it's really an honor to be here with you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's nice to be here. I just want to ask you a quick question. I see something here. It says a participant has enabled translation. So it's set to English. Should I press OK, save for English? I don't know if that has anything to do.
You're good, Mike. By default, okay. Speakers are assumed to speak in English. So
okay,
when
so I hit
someone
save.
Enables, translations, it's informative for us.
I did it. Now I see everything. Okay.
Got it.
Well, I was just telling all the people you've worked with, but yeah. I have a question because you have been working for more than 30 years. You have a pretty long career. Is there any project, any band that you would have liked to have participated, but you didn't?
Oh, for sure. Many bands. Probably, I would like to play for AC/DC. Who wouldn't? That's a cool gig. Black Sabbath, Whitesnake, Ozzy Osbourne would have been nice. There's a lot of great music from the 70s that I grew up on. I used to really be a big Journey fan back in the 70s.
It's Steve Smith.
Yeah, Steve Smith, but before Steve Smith was Ainsley Dunsbar, who used to play for Frank Zappa and Santana. So I don't know, the 70s was a good time for music. I probably am mentioning a lot of bands the younger guys don't know about, but probably the most famous band, one of the most famous bands in the world of rock and roll would be AC/DC. Just be fun to lay that groove down. Of course, the drummers they have are very good. I mean, Phil Rudd is amazing, and Chris Slade. I'm a big fan of those guys. So everyone thinks that music is easy to play, but it's really not that easy to play. There's a lot of space between the kick and the snare. You have to have a groove feeling, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that would be a fun gig.
So let's recap over here. So I think we should make this short conversations and then keep it going for everybody here.
Sure.
Pues Carlos ahora pues le preguntaba a Mike respecto a cuáles eran los grupos para que le gustaría tocar, porque en su trayectoria de 30 años ha tocado con una gran cantidad de artistas. Entonces, pues nos mencionó algunos nombres. Ahí complementame, Carlos, los que me falten, pero AC/DC, Black Sabbath, Whitesnake, Ozzy Osbourne.
Sí, que muchas bandas de los 70s que le hubiera gustado en algún momento haber participado, como Journey, justo las que mencionó Marciano.
Sí, y aquí en el chat Abraham pregunta, for you, Mike, what about playing with Townshend and Paltry with The Who?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people say that Keith Moon was a horrible, sloppy drummer. I just saw some other drummer wrote that on Facebook. I completely disagree. I think Keith Moon was a genius. If you try to copy what he played, I was in a studio one time, I had to do a remake of We Won't Get Fooled Again. It is not easy to recreate that style of drumming. Of course, Keith Moon, he was very erratic and he wasn't very technical, but the way he expressed himself was very unique. And I think that's something that's missing now. Personality. He has a personality, and it's very hard to copy that. So, yeah, I would like to play for The Who. I think Simon Phillips did a great job. Much better than I could do, for sure.
Pues bueno, aquí los comentarios. Y pues menciona que para el caso de Keith Moon, algunos tienen una opinión negativa acerca de él. Sin embargo, Mike piensa distinto y encuentra pues muy complejo emular el sonido y la forma de expresión de Keith. Carlos, si tomaste bien nota de la canción, pero yo tomé que es Full of the Gang, pero ahí aclárame si...
Won't Get Fooled Again. La canción Won't Get Fooled Again, que hicieron una versión que justo emular lo que hacía Keith Moon, pues era la autenticidad con la que tocaba, que era bastante complicado.
Exacto. Y pues bueno, esta forma errática, única y que proyecta una personalidad, y Mike comenta que quizás es algo de lo que hoy en día pues necesitamos continuar teniendo presente. ¿Algo más, ¿no? que tú quieras añadir, mi estimado Carlos?
Creo que es a grandes rasgos, ¿no?
Ok. Great answer, Mike. Bravo. So back from Abraham, who raised the question. So Ruhan Naik asks about what about Coldplay?
Well, Coldplay is, I guess it's a newer band. This music is very simplistic in nature, however, very popular. It seems to me that today there's a wide gap in the music. There's no real in between. Either it's super complicated or it's very, very simple. And obviously it's working because when Coldplay does a concert, it's pretty much sold out. So I've covered a couple of Coldplay songs, and I did my own interpretation because there's not really a lot of technical drumming on the records. That's not to say that the man that is playing for the band is not a good drummer. It just, he has a very simplistic style, and that works for the recordings. But yeah, I like the music. I like Coldplay. I think it's good, positive, happy pop music. Yeah.
¿Quieres dar tus comentarios, Carlos?
Bueno, menciona que le gusta Coldplay, que piensa que cree que hoy en día la música está un poco dividida entre lo completamente complicado y lo muy simple. Él considera que la música de Coldplay es simple, no en un sentido negativo, ¿no? Porque pues justo a veces es lo que requiere la música, pero sí, tiene mucho respeto, cree que es una música alegre, música que proyecta energía positiva hoy en día.
Excelente. Pues bueno, continuamos con comentarios y preguntas, se los agradecemos. Y Abraham comenta que Mike, the only chance Abraham had to see you playing in Mexico was with Rage, and what a performance! Superb is his feedback.
Oh, okay, you're saying someone saw me play with Rage and they enjoyed it, or?
Yeah, he enjoyed it a lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Rage was, I was in Rage for 8 years, and it was a power metal band. I was a band member. And there were some good times and there were some bad times. Unfortunately, I had to leave the band. They were against me doing a drum solo, which is really strange because both of these guys in the band love Rush and Dream Theater. And, well, Rush. There's a drum solo in every show, and Mike Portnoy plays in Dream Theater, so I think he's playing a lot. But yeah, there was a lot of discussion about putting samples on the drums and my drum solo. And I felt as a band member, it was time to move on. But we had some good years. We had some good moments. You know, playing in a band, it's like being married to like 3 or 4 other people. And after a couple of years, everything's changing. And then you get to a point where it's very difficult to communicate. And also in Rage, there was a problem just culturally because I'm an American. Peavy, the singer, was German and the guitar player was Russian. So you have 3 different mentalities in this pressure cooker. When you put everybody in a tour bus, things start to cook. Sorry, that's a long message, but hopefully you can translate that. Good luck.
Sí, sí. Pues bueno, gracias Mike. Y nos comenta pues que en Rage estuvo durante 8 años y como una banda de power metal, pues realmente hubieron buenos y malos momentos. Y uno de los factores que más conflictuaron a Mike era pues la oposición a que hubiera solos de batería durante los conciertos. Y era algo extraño porque sus compañeros de banda en Rage eran fans de Rush y de Dream Theater, donde pues también la batería pues tiene un rol emblemático. Y había pues conversaciones de utilizar samples en los tambores y eso al parecer no es algo que conecte mucho con Mike. Y pues comenta en el tema de la relación de la banda que es como estar casado con múltiples personas y se vuelve difícil establecer la comunicación. Y también está el tema de las diferentes ópticas derivadas del contexto de origen de cada integrante de la banda. Mike, pues de Estados Unidos, y ahí ayúdame con los nombres, me subo a Carlos, pero uno de ellos de Alemania y el otro ruso.
No agarré los nombres,
Carlos,
pero sí, justo
hay que decir?
Lo que decía, no alcancé a agarrar los nombres, pero lo que dices, ¿no? Sí, justo que estas diferencias culturales y estas diferencias en la manera de pensar y de acercarse a la música, pues que de repente hicieron algunas, que tuvieran, no sé si dificultades, pero lo que llevaron a Mike a decir, ¿sabes qué? Quiero emprender mi camino hacia otro lado, ¿no? Que dice que justo que se lleva muy buenos recuerdos, tuvo muy buenos momentos, pero justo llegó el momento de hacer otros tipos de música.
Exacto. Y bueno, al final, Mike también hizo hay un comentario sobre el cual hubo algunos ecos en la conversación previa que tuve, pero eso lo vamos a reservar un poco más para el final, sobre estos planos en los que Mike está conectado con la música. Hay una pregunta de Rubén Garrido, comentario, y dice, bueno, Rubén, Mike, he's sharing, he had the opportunity to see you live in Venezuela in a Tarja concert, and Rubén shares the impressive energy that you transmit.
Thank you.
He is from Quito, Ecuador. Born in Venezuela, but actually living in Ecuador.
Okay, that was in Caracas, I believe. I've only been there once. It was quite interesting. Yeah, I remember that show. And that was the nice thing about touring with Tadia. We did many shows in Eastern Europe, a lot of shows in Russia, and a lot of shows in Latin America. And I really liked playing to the Latin American audience. It's very hot, very fiery. Good stuff. So thank you.
I have a question regarding that thing because you've traveled the world. You've been to Asia, to Europe, to North America, South America, but also you've given drum clinics, not just rock shows, but also drum clinics. You have the opportunity to be with the people and to meet drummers from all around the world. What do you think is a difference between the drummers regarding their different cultures? And have you noticed something different from the drummers in the United States, where the drum set was born, and then drummers in Japan, in the other side of the world, their approach to learning, their approach to music, their approach to the drum itself?
That's an interesting question. Basically, all drummers that I meet are the same because we all love drums. They might play different styles of music, but the passion for the instrument and for practicing is the same. I've done some drum contests. I was a judge for a drum contest in Russia, in St. Petersburg. Now, you know, when I was growing up, there was the Cold War, so I never thought I'd play in Russia, let alone be the judge of a drumming contest. And many of the drummers were very good. So, you know, these guys were growing up behind the Iron Curtain. I go to China every year and I teach and do a series of clinics for a school called 9 Beats. And I see little Chinese kids reading music and playing. Actually, some of them play better than me. It's very scary. So, yeah, I mean, in Japan, the drummers are very studious, technical. Same, the Asian people are very focused and meticulous about learning. There's a lot of good musicians in Eastern Europe, in Russia. Here in Italy, there's a lot of great drummers, a lot of guys going to the conservatory for music school. The American drummers are a bit, shall I say, spoiled maybe because they grow up with all the technology. You have a lot of choices. You can see a lot of concerts, especially back in the 70s and 80s. So, but generally speaking, most of the drummers are the same. They love drummers and they want to hang out and they want to share information, which is cool.
Excelente. Pues bueno, aquí Mike nos comenta un poco respecto al tema de la energía del público, ¿no? Un poco en la conexión con Tarja, que era una de las partes iniciales. Y por otro lado, pues ahí un poco Carlos profundizó sobre las diferencias entre los bateristas. Pues te la dejo si quieres, Carlos, para que tú des tus comentarios de esta parte que Mike nos comenta.
Yo le pregunté a Mike porque él, dentro de su carrera de más de 30 años, ha viajado por todo el mundo, ha dado tanto conciertos como clínicas de batería. También se ha dedicado a compartir información sobre el tocar la batería. Y le preguntaba sobre las diferencias que él ha encontrado entre los bateristas alrededor del mundo, bateristas en Asia, bateristas en Estados Unidos. Y lo que me comenta que en sí, todos los bateristas son muy similares en el sentido de que a todos les interesa tocar, les gusta la batería, les gusta convivir con bateristas, que probablemente en Asia pues, le ha tocado ver en China niños de 8 años leyendo música y a lo mejor tocando, incluso dice que mejor que él ciertas cosas, que los japoneses también son como muy metódicos, muy atentos a la técnica, al estudio, pero que tuvo la oportunidad de ser juez de un concurso de batería en Rusia, que era algo que él pues, ni se hubiera pensado, porque cuando él creció en los 70s, pues, estaba la Guerra Fría y toda esta, que jamás le ocurrió que iba a poder tocar o estar en Rusia y mucho menos siendo juez de un concurso. Entonces, que sí, que esta oportunidad que le ha dado la batería de estarse moviendo por todo el mundo le ha permitido conocer grandes bateristas en Italia, en Rusia, en Europa del Este, en Asia. Entonces, que sí ha estado rodeado de muchos bateristas que justo comparten todos esta pasión por tocar, aunque sean distintos tipos de música, pero por tocar los tambores, ¿no?
Sí, y bueno, ahí yo creo que también una de las cosas con la que me quedé es el hecho pues, de que hay una esencia común, ¿no? Y es el tema del amor a los tambores, de la dedicación por crecer, ¿no? En nuestra forma de expresión. Y bueno, pues ya cada digamos que región, pues tiene sus particularidades de cómo abordar el aprendizaje y explorar diferentes avenidas de creatividad, mencionando pues algunos temas, ¿no? Como el caso de la tecnología, que en diferentes culturas pues también permea de forma distinta. Entonces, bueno, pues increíble hasta ahora la conversación. Si tienen más preguntas, comentarios, los escuchamos o los leemos a través del chat. Y adelante, Carlos.
Well, I think that something that could be very useful to our fellow drummers, and especially for those who are starting their careers, and because through your trajectory, I don't know if even nowadays you have to go to auditions, but maybe through a long time you wanted to be the drummer for a band, you had to do an audition. How do you prepare for that? And how do you deal? Because I guess that you didn't get every part that you applied for. So how do you deal with frustration? How do you prepare yourself for the best scenario and the worst scenario?
That is a good question. Well, I'll try to keep my answers shorter so you can translate. The most important thing is to learn the song. If they give you 4 songs, learn 4 songs, learn every note the way the drummer before you played it, okay? Know the arrangement and be prepared. Because a lot of guys come to an audition and they think they're gonna jam and fake their way through it, but it doesn't work like that. So be prepared, know the songs, know the arrangements, and if there's any technical stuff, make sure that you nail it, that you can play it. I'll stop there and then I'll tell you some more after. But
Perfecto, gracias.
Le pregunté a... ¿Sigues tú Marciano?
Sí. Sí, lo que comenta de la pregunta, por un lado es para bateristas que están empezando y en particular ya en el tema de preparación para audiciones, ya luego está el tema de la frustración. Mike comenta pues estar preparado, conocer la canción tal cual se espera ser interpretada de acuerdo pues a la notación. Mencionó también un tema interesante en cuanto a que en ocasiones quienes se presentan a las audiciones hacen cambios en los arreglos y algunos tienen la idea que ir a una audición es ir a un jam y realmente no, la óptica es diferente. La óptica es pues mantener legitimidad de la música que se está pidiendo interpretar. Adelante, Carlos.
And in the worst case scenario, how do you prepare for that? How do you couple with that?
Okay, well, back in the day before Moises and all this artificial intelligence, I used to play along to the records, put the headphones on, pump the volume. I destroyed my hearing from that, but that was the only way to prepare yourself. Now, young people have the capability to upload the song, delete the drums, or keep the drums there. You can listen to the drums solo, so you can hear exactly what the drummer is doing without the guitar and the bass on there or the vocals. And then you can study that, learn that, and then go back and practice with the click track and play the actual arrangement. That's what I do now. But back in the 80s, 90s, 70s, only playing with the record. And honestly, I'll tell you, I never played to a click track until I was 29 years old. There were no click tracks. They were only in the studio. So I'll let you finish that answer.
Adelante, Carlos.
Bueno, menciona que también algo que hoy en día ciertas aplicaciones como Moisés que te permite separar un audio en multitracks y pues aislar la batería y aprenderte nota por nota lo que tocó el baterista, que es justo lo que él cree que es importante para una audición, poder tocar lo que había tocado el baterista anterior, no querer improvisar, no querer hacer un arreglo nuevo, sino remitirse al arreglo que ya existía. y que, pues, que lo que hacía en su época, en los 70s, era tocar sobre los discos, ponerse los discos y tocar y tocar y tocar y tocar, aprenderse las canciones. Hoy en día justo estas herramientas pues, lo hacen todo más fácil y permiten que, pues sí, entender casi a la perfección lo que estaba tocando el baterista que grabó.
Exacto. Y bueno, pues tenemos un comentario también de Rubén Garrido. Muchas gracias. Mike, Rubén says, with regards to your signature drumsticks, they are awesome.
Thank you.
Rubén is evangelic Christian, and he uses them every time he has the chance to play at church, which is great. He loves the feeling, the attack that they have, particularly when he plays hi-hats on the drum set.
Cool. Thank you. I'm glad you like the stick.
Yeah.
I can talk a little bit about this if you want. This stick is Vic Firth, a custom-made stick for me, but it's basically a modified SD4.
Yes.
And the SD4 is made out of maple. They break faster. This is made out of hickory, and it has the same barrel tip. It's a little bit longer and a little bit thicker for heavy hitting. I'll let you translate that, but that's basically the design or the idea behind this drumstick.
And before that, Mike, can you talk about the color and the finish?
Yeah, okay, it's just a white paint, and a lot of drummers have white sticks now, but I wanted white because when you do tricks, you can see the stick moving, you know. Whoops, that's very unprofessional. Okay, you can see with the white stick, it really grabs the attention of the people. But I mean, stick tricks, I get a lot of negative feedback about stick tricks, but it's part of show business, okay? If you're playing in a band and you're entertaining people, you're putting on a show, so that's part of the show. But that's why I have the sticks painted white.
Okay. Bueno, Carlos.
Menciona que estas baquetas, que se las hizo la marca Big Firth, su modelo específico diseñadas junto con él, que están basadas en el modelo SD4, solo que el modelo SD4 es de maple y que se rompen fácilmente, entonces las suyas son de hickory, que no estoy seguro qué madera es en español, el hickory, ¿sabes?
Hickory es correcto.
Sí, ahorita lo buscamos.
Bueno, que es un poco más resistente y que, pero que básicamente es el mismo, un corte muy similar a la SD4, que las tiene en blanco, tienen un acabado en blanco, porque eso hace que visualmente sean mucho más fáciles de distinguir al momento de hacer trucos. Que hay muchos bateristas que critican, que cuestionan el hecho de hacer trucos, de girar la baqueta y demás, pero que es parte importante del show, al final de la música. Esto es entretenimiento y es también hacer visual, también acompañar visualmente la música. Entonces, que hace pues mucho más atractivo y fácil de ver todos estos trucos, el hecho de que las baquetas sean blancas.
Así es. Excelente, pues ya. Sí, es nogal americano.
Nogal.
Sí.
Yeah, we were looking for because we know that many the wood types are all in English, and maple is easy to translate because it's maple, no? It's almost the same. But hickory, we didn't know how to say hickory in Spanish.
Yeah, the thing about hickory is the wood is very fibrous. So what happens is it starts to split away, but it doesn't snap. Maple snaps. If you hit really hard, the stick will break in half. So hickory is better. I just wanted to say something else about auditioning, if I may.
Yeah, please.
Okay, a lot of times when I would audition for a band, maybe some of the band would be there, the bass player, the guitar player, and you play together. But when I auditioned for Yngwie Malmsteen, I remember setting up my drums in a rehearsal room. They put microphones on, And I actually recorded a song. It was the song was called Never Die, which is actually the opening track. I recorded the demo for Never Die, but the opening track on the album, The Seventh Sign, is Never Die. So that was my audition song. I never heard the song before. He said, okay, this is the song, play. And I recorded. And that's how I got the gig. Trial by fire, I guess.
Okay. Entonces, bueno, aquí Mike complementa del tema de las audiciones, y en el caso de la audición que tuvo con Yngwie Malmsteen, se presentó en la sede, y en vez de tocar con los integrantes de la banda, entonces le pidieron grabar una canción. Entonces le dieron ahí las pautas de cuál era la canción, que fue la de Never Die, y simplemente tocó lo que se le pidió, pero sin tener la interacción en vivo con los integrantes como en otras ocasiones sucede. Y pues así fue como ganó, digamos que su lugar tocando con este gran guitarrista. Thank you very much for sharing, Mike. So we have a question from Bernardo Muñoz. He asks about the record Symphonic. How did you have the idea to make arrangements for classical compositions? And the other question, did you write or transcribe the drum parts, or everything was done in the spot while you were playing your recalls from the songs?
Okay. Yeah. The reason I started this Symphonica project is because when I was a young guy in the 70s, I saw Cozy Powell in his drum solo, and he played the 1812 Overture. And that's a piece of music by Tchaikovsky. But you know that song? Okay, so I was very impressed by that. I thought, wow, this guy's a hard rock drummer, but he's playing the classical music. And unfortunately, Cozy Powell was killed in a car accident, and I felt very bad about that. I saw Cozy Powell play a few times, and I wanted to make a tribute to Cozy Powell. So I decided I'm going to record the 1812 Overture. So that's what started it. I'll let you translate that, and then I'll answer the rest of the question.
Okay. Carlos.
Bueno, Mike menciona que cuando él era joven vio a Cozy Powell tocar esta pieza de Tchaikovsky, y que le impactó mucho ver a un baterista de rock tocando una pieza pues de un contexto bien distinto, y que lamentablemente este baterista falleció en un accidente de automóvil, y Mike quiso rendirle un tributo interpretando esta pieza.
Okay. Now, I'll just go in small sentences so you can translate piece by piece. I think it's easier for everybody. The thing about classical music is it's very structured, and the people that wrote this music were geniuses. So you can play it one way. You have to analyze the parts and analyze the rhythm of each part, and then create drum parts that fit inside that rhythm and arrangement. And this took a lot of time. And yes, I did write out my parts, and I did chart the songs, because it's not like rock music. Okay, it's much more involved. I wouldn't say more complicated, but there's a lot of different layers. There's many different instruments that you can listen to, that you can play off of. So you have to pick the right line, the right melody line. Sorry, I'll stop there because it's a lot of info.
Gracias, Mike. Bueno, pues Mike nos comenta que hay una gran estructura en la música clásica, y pues reconoce la genialidad de los compositores de este tipo de repertorio. Lo que Mike hizo fue analizar cada una de las partes y el ritmo, y pensar en qué interpretación en la batería sería adecuada para cada uno de ellos, reconociendo una diferencia de que pues no es con la estructura que tiene la música del rock, señalando pues el que hay múltiples capas, instrumentos, y hay diferentes opciones para cómo lidiar con cada una de ellas.
Yeah, so to answer the man's question, I think it's Hugo. I didn't just go into the studio and start improvising. Every part that I played, I thought about, I practiced so it would fit very perfectly. And then, of course, when you get into the studio and you put the microphones on the drums, you still have to adjust some drum fills because then you can really hear how things are working together. And just one final note, then you can translate this. But I basically, I was living in Pisa, Italy at the time, and I locked myself into a recording studio for 1 month. I rented out the studio and I practiced every day for like 7 hours, all the pieces, all the arrangements. And then at the end of the month, I recorded all the songs, and that was Sinfonica. That's how it happened.
Carlos.
Bueno, Mike menciona que justo que las partes no fueron improvisadas, que ya había mencionado en la respuesta anterior, que había transcrito y que se había estructurado todo muy, muy bien para saber qué hacer. Y que aquí lo que hizo, él estaba viviendo en Pisa, en Italia, durante en esta época, y que rentó un estudio durante un mes, y durante ese mes estuvo ensayando todos los días, unas 7 horas aproximadamente, todo el repertorio, y ya al final de ese mes lo grabó, pero una vez que estaba súper cómodo y familiarizado con todo.
Yeah, and if I may add, when I play live to the Sinfonica tracks, it's very quantized. Everything is on the click, okay? But when you play with a real orchestra, it's moving. It's fast, it's slow. The conductor is controlling everything. It's a completely different experience. So I found that the classical musicians, they do listen to the drums, but they're also watching the conductor. And I have to watch the conductor also for the endings. So that was challenging because I don't have a background in classical. I don't have a classical music education. I'm a self-taught drummer. So this was, it was interesting. I learned a lot the hard way.
Ok, bueno, pues aquí Mike nos comenta que tocar lo que tocó en vivo al track sinfónico, pues le presentó el contexto que todo estaba cuantificado. Sin embargo, ya en las interpretaciones en vivo, tocando con la orquesta, pues ahí hay variaciones en el tiempo que pues vienen señaladas por parte del conductor. Y pues lo que encuentra, digamos, en los integrantes de la orquesta es que, por un lado, tienen el reto de seguir la batería, pero por otro lado también seguir las señales que tiene el conductor. Entonces, bueno, la formación de Mike fue distinta a un contexto sinfónico y fue pues todo un reto el poderlo, digamos, abordar.
I'll just say for me, as a guy that grew up as a self-taught drummer and I listened to a lot of jazz and fusion, heavy metal, hard rock. But when I started to get into the classical music, I started to learn a lot about music. I started reading about the composers, about their lives, and how they created their music.
Good.
And you have to remember that this music is 300 years old. People are still listening to it. They didn't have a computer. They were writing it with a pen, ink, and then playing it on the piano. A different ballgame. That's very interesting.
Mike menciona que justo que cuando él empezó a tocar, porque él no tuvo una educación formal en un conservatorio, sino que él es autodidacta, pero que justo todo esto lo hizo tener que sumergirse un poco y aprender de estos músicos, de estos compositores, que además es música que tiene 300 años de existir, en una época en donde obviamente no tenían computadoras, todos escribían la música a mano, ¿no? Tinta sobre papel, y después la tocaban en el piano, que era una relación bien diferente con la música, y que todo eso, el entender cómo vivían estas personas, cómo creaban su música, pues lo enriqueció mucho su propia ejecución. And regarding all this technology, we were talking before our audience appeared. How do you think that all these noises, all the YouTube, all drumming information in the world is in YouTube, and everyone can, it's easier to learn, but there's also a lot of information, and in your experience that you were a self-taught drummer, how do you think, how do you consider that learning the drums has changed over the last 30 years, and with this exponential growth of technology, that there's always more tools and more tools and more tools?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. And I think in one sense, all the social media, you can see a lot of drummers, you can see all the camera angles, you can listen to them talk about technique, and that's cool. But the problem is everybody is watching everybody else, and they're not developing their own personality. You know, I think that's very important. I was locked away in a room for 10 years developing my style, my voice on the instrument. So I think the technology has kind of pushed that down a little bit. And I also think, especially for younger people, maybe there's too much information. And unfortunately, I'm making videos every day. I'm guilty. I'm doing it too. I'm pushing my stuff out. I want people to see me. I want to share it. And this basically started during COVID because I was always on the road. You know, I was never home. Now I'm home quite a bit, working in this environment, which is also cool. It's just a different technique, a different tool, if you will. But I think it's a bit overload. So much information. People don't know what to watch next.
Bueno, pues aquí lo que Mike nos comenta de la pregunta de Carlos, que es cómo ha cambiado la forma de aprender batería en el tiempo. Y pues la reflexión de Mike es que ha habido un cambio drástico, en particular por los medios sociales, en donde pues ahora tenemos esta oportunidad de estar inmersos en el contexto del baterista, viendo su ejecución por diferentes ángulos con las cámaras. Y la reflexión es que, por un lado, ahora tenemos mayor exposición al sonido de los demás, y la oportunidad que señala es en el trabajo para crear la identidad propia. En el caso de Mike, pues él estuvo 10 años en su cuarto de estudio desarrollando su propia personalidad. Entonces, bueno, estos temas de sobreexposición también lo que implican es que a veces tenemos esta énfasis por compartir información hacia los demás, en particular cuando iniciaron pues, los temas de la pandemia.
I don't know if maybe it would be a good time I don't know if someone in the audience has some questions regarding technical things, if they want to exploit the fact that you have there your practice pad. And so I'm going to ask everyone if they want to ask something regarding that theme. Quisiera saber si hay alguien, porque ahorita Mike tiene ahí en donde está, tiene un practicador, tiene un doble pedal con un practicador y demás. Entonces no sé si gente del público tenga dudas específicas sobre cosas técnicas, independencia, trabajo de doble pedal, que quisieran preguntarle.
No questions. I mean, I can show something.
I think it would be cool.
Yes.
Okay, you know, like when I was a kid, I remember in the 70s, I saw Van Halen opening up for Journey, and Alex Van Halen played quads, 16th notes. But I could only see the drums from the front. I had no idea what he was doing. If I change the camera, basically he's just doing this. 1 E and a. But I really had I remember when I was a kid, I sat down behind the drums. I was like, maybe it's this. I don't know. And then when I was listening to Led Zeppelin as a kid, I didn't really understand that, you know, he wasn't playing this. He was playing triplets. But when you speed that up, it sounds like a quad. Those are the triplets, quads, triplets. So now, now you have these cameras everywhere. You can see that very quickly, very easily. Oh, okay, the guy's 2 with the hands, 2 with the feet, and 1 second, let me get rid of that. Yeah, so I mean, I think that's something that the technology has really lifted the veil of secrecy. You know, it's like, I used to watch these guys. What are they doing? It sounds very powerful. That's all it was, just really fast. So maybe I can show some warm-up techniques that I do for my hands, if someone's interested in that.
Sure, and I suggest just recapping on what you just shared.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
No problem. So, lo que nos dice Mike ahora es que cuando él estuvo en su juventud, participó en un concierto donde Van Halen le abrió a Journey. Entonces vio a Alex Van Halen tocando. Just a small translation topic. So when you said quads, you mean 16th notes, right?
Yeah, 16th notes with the right, left with the foot.
Yeah.
Quads, they call them quads.
Ok. Entonces, bueno, está Mike hablando de cómo Alex Van Halen estaba tocando alternancia en extremidades, en manos, y luego empieza en 16avos. Y que él no tenía idea de cómo producir ese sonido, pues estaba en el del lado de la audiencia viendo la batería en el escenario, ¿no? Entonces regresó a la batería y trataba de emular el sonido con las manos, no lo encontraba, y entonces ya después descubrió esta alternancia que después también descubrió. Y no sé si Carlos tomó el nombre, pero también hay otro baterista que lo hacía con tresillos. Sí, Carlos.
Era John Bonham, que justo utilizaba derecha, izquierda, bombo con tresillos, y que al acelerarlos forman un efecto muy similar al de los quads, ¿no?
Exacto, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, también aquí la reflexión de Mike es que pues ahora es más fácil develar los secretos de los bateristas, pues por toda esta inmersividad en contenidos que tenemos. On to you, Mike.
Okay, so
just something quickly, because someone wrote here, Ruhan Naik, I think he's writing from India, and he says that he will love to see Legend Mike in India. He got crazy following on social media from India. I am pretty sure that Indians will be on their feet when Legend will be here in India. And he has 2 questions. That when can they'll see a collab or combination of Indian classical music with your drums? And what do you think that will happen when AI music tools comes into the world? And what do you think? Where do you think the life of actual drumming will last?
Okay. First of all, I've never been to India, but it looks like an interesting place. I like Indian food, though. It's good. Indian music, like the traditional Indian music, is very, very complicated. if you study the or know anything about the tabla drummers, they have to speak a language before they even touch the instrument. So I think it'll be a while before I dive into any Indian music. I'm having trouble playing rock music right now, classical music. And do you want to answer that? Should I stop?
Yo le comenté que tenemos alguien en Ruhan Naik, creo que desde la India, que habla de que le encantaría verlo en la India, lugar en donde nunca ha estado Mike, y que le preguntó que cuándo sería posible ver una combinación de la música clásica india con las baterías de Mike. Y lo que menciona Mike es que él considera muy compleja la música india, que justo los percusionistas que tocan la tabla y demás tienen que aprender una especie de lenguaje primero antes de poderlo tocar. Mucho es basado como en ciertos fonemas la percusión. Entonces que cree que por ahora él todavía tiene mucho que explorar todavía en el rock, entonces no sabe si pronto va a sumergirse en la música india.
The other part of the question was, do I think artificial intelligence will affect music?
Yeah, and do you think I understood that he asked do you think AI will eventually replace drums, and do you think if you think drums still have a long life ahead of us?
Well, I mean, it's already happened. I mean, if you listen to most pop music, you know, like if it's techno or really kind of pop music made by a DJ, it's a drum machine. So I wouldn't call it artificial intelligence, but it's generated by a machine. And now I've just recently seen there's a lot of apps you can download on your phone that make music. You say the style, how fast, what you want, and it makes the music, which is kind of scary. I think it's in a primitive form at the moment, but I think in the next 5 to 10 years, it will be pretty heavy. So in answer to, will artificial intelligence destroy drumming? I think in a live concert situation, I think music is organic. It needs to be made by people and shared with people. So there'll always be live shows and there'll always be the interaction between human beings. But maybe some pop music or even heavy metal music is generated by a computer, and maybe people like it. Who knows? There's already like some songs that are like they'll take a heavy metal song with Freddie Mercury's voice and put it together with the music, and it sounds pretty close, which is pretty scary. So I think artificial intelligence is in the early stage right now, but 5 to 10 years from now, who knows? Could be pretty heavy. Yeah. So that's my answer. That's complicated.
Bueno, pues ahí Mike nos comenta sobre este tema, ¿no? ¿Cuál es el tiempo de vida de la batería, considerando pues la producción de música por inteligencia artificial? Y la perspectiva es que la tecnología pues ya ha tenido un papel en la producción musical en la actualidad. Si vemos géneros como el caso de la música pop, techno o de DJs, pues ya ahí hay elementos tecnológicos como es el caso de las cajas de ritmo. Y pues al día de hoy hay aplicaciones que pueden generar música. La perspectiva de Mike es que, sin embargo, la música es un fenómeno orgánico producido por personas. Y pues este tema de la experiencia, lo que uno vive participando de un show en vivo, ya sea como público o parte de la banda, pues es algo que tiene un espacio diferente al tema de la percepción y de la producción. Y comenta pues de algunos ejemplos de canciones generadas con vocales de Freddie Mercury, que pues son convincentes y con ciertas cualidades estéticas también.
You know, for example, I have a lot of younger friends of mine that listen to extreme metal or what the new wave of heavy metal, which is quite aggressive. And they like to go into the mosh pit, you know? I don't think young people are going to mosh to artificial intelligence. You know what I'm saying? They need a band. They need that power. So I don't think it'll completely take over, but it will probably make some serious changes for sure on how we compose music, how we listen to music.
Menciona Mike que él tiene la duda de si la gente va a meterse al mosh pit o a hacer slam con música generada artificialmente. Él cree que pues, hace falta ese componente humano, entonces él cree que así como que la vaya a reemplazar, no tanto, pero sí va a hacer cambios, ¿no? Significativos.
I have never been in a mosh pit and I don't want to be. I don't understand.
But you should have been the trigger to many.
Yeah, sometimes I think when I was playing with Rage or some other heavy metal bands, that would start in front of us and I'd just be playing drums like, wow, that's crazy. But you know, when I was younger, I used to go to the concert, I used to have my seat, my ticket, and then I'd sit down and I'd watch the drummer. I guess you could say I was kind of a nerd, you know. I went to concerts to learn how to play drums. There was no internet. There were no drum videos, DVDs, nothing. There was Modern Drummer. Remember the magazine, Modern Drummer? Yeah, and it was hard to find. And if I would get one copy of Modern Drummer, I'd read it. I'd read everything, even the advertisements, everything. Just read it. Because couldn't get a hold of this magazine and there wasn't really any information for drumming like there is now. So yeah, for me, I'd go to the concert and my friends would be like, yeah, let's go get a drink at the bar. And I'm like, no, I want to watch them bring on the new drum set. My friends are like, man, you're weird. I'm like, no, I'm learning. I'm watching this. I was a strange kid.
Sí, pues bueno, ahí Mike nos comenta pues que de este tema, pues que no ha estado en un mosh pit, ¿no? Sin planes para estar ahí. Sin embargo, pues cuando en su juventud acudía a los conciertos con el propósito de observar y aprender de los bateristas. Iba a los conciertos para aprender a tocar, porque era una época en donde pues no había medios en línea y además de los conciertos, la otra fuente para aprender era... fue la revista Modern Drummer, que sigue existiendo, por supuesto, y leía la revista de principio a fin, incluyendo los anuncios, porque pues era de las pocas fuentes de información que había en ese momento, ¿no? Y a lo mejor, a diferencia de algunos amigos que iban a lo mejor al bar, pues Mike se quedaba para poder ver cuál era la nueva batería que iban a traer en el cambio de show, por ejemplo, ¿no? Entonces, ahí la perspectiva. Aquí creo que hay una pregunta más de Rujan. Y Rujan asks Mike, how can we make it alive for years for next generation? My father used to love to listen to your work reels on Instagram of Queen's band. My father used to play it every day.
I don't really understand the question.
How can we make it alive for years for next generation? I think how can we keep the drumming tradition alive?
Well, I mean, as from what I see, the drumming tradition is alive and well. There's so many drummers on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Everybody's playing, everybody is showing what they can do. So that's a good thing. However, I have noticed, like, if you go into a music store, like the Guitar Center, when you walk in there, the first thing you see is all the DJ equipment. The guitars are in the back, the drums are upstairs. So it seems like maybe a lot of younger people want to do the DJ thing because it's cool now and it's very easy. I wouldn't say easy, but it's doesn't take as much time to learn all the technique to do a double stroke roll. And, you know, if you want to play piano, there's a lot of rules. You have to learn all the key signatures, the scales. So maybe to be a DJ is a fast way to make music. But I still see a lot of young people playing drums and guitar, bass and keyboards and singing. So that's good. It's alive. It's alive. It's there in the box.
Bueno, Mike menciona porque preguntaba nuestro compañero Rujan que tendríamos que hacer para mantener viva la tradición de la batería, pero Mike menciona que él cree que está bien viva, ¿no? Porque si ves en TikTok, en Instagram, en las redes, hay un montón de bateristas subiendo y todos los días, en todo el mundo, su ejecución. Entonces, que hay guitarristas, que puede ser que si tú entras hoy en día a una tienda como Guitar Center, que lo primero que veas sea el equipo de DJs, y al fondo están las guitarras y las baterías, probablemente porque a lo mejor para ser DJ o para hacer otros tipos de música no necesitas aprender tanta teoría, echarte cerrando con la técnica y demás, sino que es un poco más accesible. Entonces, que él cree que pues sí, hay un público que le interesa más esa parte, pero que él no lo veo particularmente preocupado, ¿no? Sí, porque vaya a desaparecer la tradición baterística, porque hay bastante gente manteniéndola viva.
You know, I just wanted to say this with regard to learning how to play the drums without the technology. When I was like 16, 17, I used to go to see four or five concerts a week. And it was like $10 for a concert ticket. And now, if you want to go to a concert, it costs a lot of money. You could spend hundreds. Some people spend thousands, you know, to be in the front row. So back in the 70s, you know, I saw a lot of great bands. I saw a lot of great drummers. I saw them up close. Sometimes I would see them playing in a bar. And I think that's one of the reasons why I became a professional musician, because I was very impressed by what I saw in this live theater. You know what I mean? So now it's different. You know, like I said, everybody's watching on a screen, and I've talked to some friends of mine that go to a metal festival, and they said they won't go to a festival unless there's a big jumbo screen so that they can see the artists, you know, otherwise the artist is like this big and you're way in the back. So it's just a different way of appreciating the live situation. But I was very lucky to grow up in the 70s, because I really saw a lot of music, rock, jazz, fusion, progressive, punk. I saw a lot of bands on the way up, and it influenced me. It shaped how I play.
Y pues aquí Mike nos comenta pues que en este tema de su evolución musical, pues en su juventud de 16 a 17 años, él acudía a 4 a 5 conciertos a la semana. Y en ese entonces, pues los conciertos tenían un precio de $10 aproximadamente. En esta época de los 70s tuvo la oportunidad de ver grandes bandas de cerca, también en bares, y eso fue la experiencia de participar en los recintos en vivos lo que lo impresionó y que influyó en su decisión de ser un baterista profesional. Y al día de hoy, pues, sitúa que hay una diferencia con estos temas de las pantallas, que incluso para algunas personas, si no hay pantallas en los conciertos, pues podrán tomar la decisión de no acudir, porque es el medio para poder estar o verlos más de cerca a los artistas, ¿no? Y en los 70s, sus influencias incluyeron rock, jazz, progresivo, funk, entre otros géneros. And we have, Mike, a question from Bernardo. Now he wants to know your impressions of the flip side of technology. So what advantages have you seen that technology could offer today? So for example, now we have double bass drum pedals, electronic pads. So what are the pros with technology and drumming?
Yeah, there's a lot of great things out there for learning. For example, now you have this Zoom technology. If you want to contact your favorite drummer, you can take a lesson with him. You don't have to fly somewhere. You can just click on over the internet, pay for the lesson, and you have a one-on-one lesson with someone who is who's playing that you're interested in. Also, there's a lot of tools. There's all kinds of different metronomes. I have 2 different metronomes. One of them I'm using at the moment is called Synced, SYND. And with this metronome, you can program different note rate values. You can make a long phrase. Sometimes you're playing 16th notes and then you want to play quintuplets. You can program that into the machine and play along with it so that you're actually sure that you're playing in time and you're playing 16th notes and quintuplets. You can slow it down, you can speed it up. Of course, the electronic drums, there's so many advantages. It's quiet practice. When I was a kid, I was not allowed to play the drums when anybody was home because it's annoying. It's loud, the paintings are falling off. People can't watch TV. So with the electronic drumming, I think it's opened up a lot of nice ways for younger people to practice at home without disturbing anybody, and you can play any time of the day. Pretty cool. So I think there's a lot of positive things coming from the technology. And I myself, I look to a lot of drummers, my heroes, whether they're Simon Phillips, drummers like that, or you can go back and watch videos of Jeff Porcaro. You can watch and learn, or even Buddy Rich. You can see a lot of stuff on YouTube where Buddy Rich is playing, and you can slow it down. You can watch it. You couldn't do that before. So I think the technology has increased the curve of learning for sure. I enjoy that aspect of it. I think it's good. That's one of the positive things. For me, the biggest negative is that everyone is so influenced by everybody else that it's becoming homogenized. Do you know what I mean? Everyone is starting to play the same. It's like, okay, everyone's playing gospel chops. No, I'm going to play gospel chops. Hey, why don't you find out what you're going to do with your soul, what you think? For me, when I play a piece of music, I'm expressing my soul. It's part of my soul, how I feel into the music. And that's what separates technique from art. Music is art. It's not about technique. Technique is the tool to create art. There, that's a lot of information. Sorry. Good luck. Translate that.
Bueno, Mike menciona que sí, que por supuesto que hay ventajas con la tecnología, que hay muchas herramientas para la educación, que él usa un metrónomo que se llama Synced. Ahorita le pedimos que nos diga de nuevo cómo se llama, pero entendí que es SYNKD. Que este metrónomo se puede programar de manera que si estás tocando en un... como te deja programar ciertas frases. Entonces, si en algún momento usas 16avos y en otro momento usas cinquillos, el metrónomo se adapta. Entonces puedes tocar con él y te va dando todo ese grid de las distintas subdivisiones. También menciona que las baterías electrónicas pues, también han sido una herramienta muy útil de entrada para poder practicar en silencio sin hacer ruido, porque cuando él tocaba de joven no podía tocar en ciertos momentos cuando las demás personas estaban en la casa, porque pues, los demás no podían ver la televisión o no podían, era molesto para los demás. Entonces que estas herramientas pues sí, sin duda han traído pues muchas ventajas, pero que lo que él sigue sintiendo es que esta tecnología, este hecho de que sea tan accesible, que todo el mundo pueda tener acceso a la información tan fácil, hace que la gente se preocupe demasiado por la parte técnica, que ha homogeneizado también. Tenemos a muchos bateristas tocando lo mismo, que de repente se ponen de moda los gospel chops, entonces todo el mundo quiere tocar gospel chops, y que se pierde un poco esta búsqueda por una identidad personal. Entonces, que la técnica es útil, es una herramienta para generar arte, pero no es el arte en sí. que el arte es esta expresión personal y que no tenemos que olvidar eso, ¿no? Que es el camino individual, que no vamos a llegar a él a través de la tecnología, sino a través de nuestro propio trabajo personal.
Excelente,
I think...
Go ahead, Mike.
I like to do a drum solo, but drums are not really a solo instrument. Drums are the backbone of the rhythm section to complement the song. So when I play drums, most of the time when we play drums, you're playing a beat. You're not shredding out, you're playing a beat. That's 75% of what your job is as a drummer. So that's my approach. So now I see everybody, yeah, but that doesn't serve the song. You know what I mean? I've made over 100 records. I've worked with a lot of producers, and sometimes I come in with my ideas, and when I'm done recording the song, maybe one of my drum fill ideas work. They're always deleting more and more space. And I'll just say this, as a producer once told me, he goes, Mike, it's not the actual notes you play, it's the space between the notes, where you put the notes, the feeling behind the notes, especially when you're playing a groove. You're laid back. If you play like this, it's very stiff. That doesn't feel good. So really, what drummers are dealing with is time and space. And the space between the notes is what gives the song a feeling, a human feeling, not quantized and not machine-like. And that's what creates the form of expression. Again, we're back to art. You know what I mean? Sorry, it's a lot to translate. I feel bad.
Excelente, Mike, gracias. Bueno, pues aquí Mike también complementa que pues, a él le gusta tocar solos de batería. Sin embargo, pues reconoce que la batería pues es la columna vertebral para sostener la música. Entonces, en ese contexto, la mayor parte del tiempo está tocando un beat en vez de redobles, y lo que observa es que actualmente pues hay una tendencia a una mayor densidad de notas en el tiempo, y la reflexión que tiene, compartida por un productor con quien estuvo trabajando, es que no es tanto la nota, sino el espacio que hay entre ellas y la sensación que se evoque al interpretarla. Entonces, esa es la materia prima con la cual trabajamos como bateristas, el tiempo y el espacio.
Yeah, also to answer that question about technology, when I used to make records, we used to record on 2-inch tape. Okay? It's not digital. So you had to play the song from the start until the end. If you make a mistake, you stop and you start again until you play the song. Now with Pro Tools or Logic, you can drop in, you can punch, you can grab, you can copy and paste. I mean, you can quantize it, you can move everything. It wasn't like that in the 70s and 80s. So sometimes if you go back and you listen to recordings, like if you listen to Led Zeppelin, those are one complete take recorded in real time. That's a performance, a magical performance. And that doesn't really happen so much these days because of the technology. You can you can drop drums, you can punch in, you know what I mean? You can play the intro first, you can play the ending, you can play the middle. Doesn't matter. It's weird. But also it's made it a lot easier to record. It's easier to record, but it's not as challenging, I think. It's a different challenge.
Bueno, mencionó también que con la tecnología, pues, sobre todo específicamente en las grabaciones, que a lo mejor se ha convertido en algo menos retador, porque hoy en día puedes ponchar, puedes grabar, puedes hacer como pequeños parches sobre la grabación, y si incluso quieres grabar primero el final de la canción y después el inicio, lo puedes hacer. Entonces, pero que eso pues pierde esa esencia artística, ¿no? De tocar la canción pues, de principio a fin con cierta inercia, pues, se pierde de esta manera, pero que sí ha facilitado, es más fácil grabar, que es más fácil, sí tenemos más recursos, pero de nuevo, pues todo tiene pues, ambos lados, ¿no?
Yeah, you know, one time on a session, I did 2 complete takes of a song. The one take that I did was very good, but I made a mistake at the end. And so the engineer cut the tape and spliced them together. That was how they used to fix mistakes back then. This is very risky when you take a razor blade to a 24-track recording. It's crazy, but I watched the guy do it. Zip, 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 found the right spot, cut it, put it together with tape, and then it was a perfect take. But normally, you have to play from the beginning to the end, which is a bit stressful. Can be very stressful, especially when you need to get paid and pay your rent from the recording session. Yes.
Sí, pues bueno, aquí Mike nos cuenta que pues en un momento estuvo participando en una sesión, hizo 2 tomas de una canción y en una cometió un error. Entonces, era la toma preferida. Entonces, pues le tocó ver cómo el ingeniero de producción identificó en la otra toma la parte que era correcta y entonces literalmente tomó pues un cúter para retirar esa parte de la cinta y sustituirla en la otra. Entonces, obviamente, pues es algo sorprendente que el día de hoy, pues, no tenemos que lidiar con eso. Sin embargo, pues el tema interesante es el reto que impone, pues, el tocar una canción de principio a fin y que así quede plasmada para la historia.
Okay.
Tenemos un par de preguntas más y si les parece, con eso pues ya nos orientamos a las conclusiones de esta maravillosa sesión que hemos tenido. Entonces, Rubén pregunta, Mike, tips or advice, exercises that you recommend to become comfortable, proficient with double pedals?
Okay, well, that's a good question. You know, years ago, I was living in Los Angeles and I was struggling with my double bass with the speed. And I was given a video, a Dave Weckl video. I think it was his first instructional video. And in that video, I saw him doing an exercise, but he only did it with the right foot. So if you want, I can show you that. You want to translate that?
Menciona que cuando era joven, que en algún periodo vivió en Los Ángeles y que él estuvo batallando un poco también con el doble pedal, específicamente con la velocidad, y que en un video de Dave Weckl, que cree que es el primer video de Dave Weckl, menciona un ejercicio que él lo aplicaba en su pie derecho, pero que Mike decidió aplicarlo con ambas piernas. Entonces nos lo va a mostrar ahorita. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, so I'll turn on the other camera so that you can see. This is a very basic exercise, and I'll play it slow, but basically I would keep time, you know, like 8 notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So just basically 2 and 4, 8th notes on the ride cymbal. But on the foot, I would play 8th notes. I don't know if you can see this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then triplets, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and then shift gears into 16th notes, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and you can see I play heel up, okay? I'm not doing any swivel techniques or whatever. I'm pretty much old school, you know, I muscle it out, but I like to use a heel up technique. And it's kind of the same thing with your hand, you know, you use your fingers. It's the same, I don't know if you can see it here, but it's it's the same thing, only with the foot. Okay, so basically Dave Weckl was doing this exercise. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. I said, I thought to myself, what would happen if I did it with my left foot? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I put those two together and I started to alternate them with a metronome, slow, triplets, 16th notes, left foot, 8th notes, 8th note triplets, 16th notes. Okay? Then I took it one step further. I start to alternate them. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now I'm playing with 16 notes. 8th notes, triplets, 8th notes, then I would pump up the tempo and just play 8th notes and triplets. 8th notes a little faster, triplets. And when I was doing that, I was concentrating on keeping everything very precise. Okay? And when you start to play this exercise, this is actually kind of the building blocks of my double bass drumming. I would bump up the tempo even more. 8th notes, triplets. You can play longer. And then you'll notice that just between the 8th notes and the 8th note triplets, you start to develop musical patterns. And I like, when I play double bass, I like it to swing. If I'm playing, I like the triplets. I like them to swing, you know what I mean? Not just be like, that's not so machine-like. It's the same if you play a shuffle. You want it to swing. Make it a little bit behind the beat, a little bit sloppy. So I don't know. I think hopefully everybody understands what I'm doing. And then I would I would go from the triplets to 16th notes. So starting with the triplets. Triplets, 8th note triplets. 16th notes. And then from there, I would go into this kind of power metal groove, which is kind of this. So if you're playing 16th notes, those are the 16th notes. Straight eighth notes. So you start mixing those patterns randomly. Even when I do fills, this exercise, doing this, triplets, and 16th notes, kind of open the door for patterns like triplets with the hands, with the feet. So you start to mix all those together. But that Dave Weckl exercise was a breakthrough for me in terms of speed and coordination. It's a lot of information, sorry. I think they understood the patterns, right? Maybe not all the English. Another good exercise that I do, that I develop for myself, is that I play the right foot. Like I'll play triplets with my right foot. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and. But play it in a groove. Left foot. And then you can put them together and alternate them. Left foot. That's going to be the right foot. I kind of call that divide and conquer. And you can do that with the 16th notes too. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Now the left foot. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and. So just to demonstrate that with the hands, because maybe it's hard to see on the camera. But if you go through a book like Stick Control, you'll play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, or yeah, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then the left. I do the same thing with the double bass. So basically my mindset was, whatever I do with the hands, I want to try to play with my feet. I hope you can translate some of that. It's a lot of information. But
well,
I
primero,
think they, okay.
Oh, continue.
You want me to continue? Oh, okay. You know, a lot of practicing. The fastest that I play double bass, I max out at like 180 BPM. You know, guys are playing at 200. I don't play music that goes past 180. For me, you know, that's fast enough. So that exercise allowed me to develop that speed and power without using triggers, you know, totally acoustic playing. You know, I don't use triggers. It's man against machine. Another thing I do to warm up my hands, very important to warm up. I don't know if you guys know this stretch, but you take the sticks and you twist them over. I can show this on the other camera. Start like so. The left hand under the right elbow and hold. Trying to get, yeah. Right hand under the left elbow. And that's just a good warm up. And let me switch to the other camera. Now I want to show people, I think a lot of drummers, or younger drummers especially, they don't spend enough time finding the balance point of the stick. You can see, for me, the balance point on this stick is like right where the TH is. The thumb and forefinger I use. The stick is bouncing freely. If you hold the stick up too close, it doesn't bounce good. It's working against you. If you hold it back too far, it's working against you. But when you hold it in, you find the sweet spot for the stick, and it bounces. That's the free stroke. When you throw it down, that first stroke is, you have to pay for it. You have to move your hand. The second stroke, you just close the fingers. And this is very important when you learn how to do the double stroke. A lot of people do double strokes. They sound uneven because they only concentrate on the down. If you pull out the second one, both notes are strong. So that's what I do for this technique. And sometimes I'll put on a metronome and I'll play the right hand. If I have a metronome. Left. And if you notice, I'm not tense when I play the doubles. So it's very, very loose grip. And that's a little bit of the molar technique too, when you want to get more than two strokes. And that helps you play faster doubles. A lot of times I practice the double stroke roll. A lot of guys just sit down and they'll just burn on the double stroke. Give yourself a break. Play the double stroke roll as triplets. So, triplets. And also another technique that I used to practice a lot for the fingers is developed by Simon Phillips. It's called valving. You'll see Jojo Meyer does this too. Jojo Meyer does the exercise like this. The first index and thumb, and then the second finger, third finger. Or you can do it like this. This is how Simon Phillips does it. You find the balance point of the stick between your thumb and first finger. So you see it's bouncing pretty good there. It's the same balance point. And then curve your fingers over That's the index finger, second finger, third, and go back and forth. That's really good for the tendons, and that also helps you to develop this. And also a little trick to keep the balance point. A lot of times, so I don't have to squeeze the stick, I like the stick to be a little bit tacky, a little bit sticky. So I use some surf wax on the stick. I'll rub a little bit of surf wax on there. This is made for humid weather, okay? And when your hands are warm, it really sticks. You can see it's not really moving off that spot. That really helps me, especially during this kind of exercise. Then you can put them together. This is what Simon Phillips does. He does it a lot better than I do. Whoops. Yeah, I get it. I'll do it slower. So that's a really good way to just warm up and practice this one. Another good exercise is if you're familiar with the book Stick Control. I think everybody knows this book by George Lawrence Stone. You play a paradiddle, right, left, right, left, left. Lower the camera. Always have the accent on the downbeat. So I play the paradiddle, but then I play kind of an inverted paradiddle. Right, left, right, left, left, right, left. On a regular paradiddle, then I'll invert it. Now, regular, that's the inverted paradiddle. And you should try to get that up to a certain tempo where you can play it faster. And if you put them both together, you have the regular paradiddle, regular, that's a really good warm up, especially for the left hand. You'll feel some burning right in here. So, Stick Control is a very important book, and it's really important to have control over the snap for double strokes, especially when you want to use them on the drum set. Like, I don't really play double strokes on the toms because they're too big and too loose, but I can play doubles off of the toms. So if this was the tom-tom, it's a different surface. I can play doubles, but then I play the double, I break the double. That's a lot of stuff that Buddy Rich would do. Or if I show you from another camera angle, you can break the double on any instrument, the cymbals. Okay, if I'm playing doubles, you see this could be a cymbal or another tom. You can break the double this way, just double strokes. Whoops. far away, but. So if you play like a samba pattern. You can play the double out. In, out. And that gives you a lot of different rhythms. So it's hard to play it. There it is. It's just a broken double. Still doubles. One. Okay, so when you have the ability, when you have the technique to do that, your hand is strong to pull that second note out, and you can use it on the cymbals. That kind of thing. Hard to play on these pads, but that's basically the idea. Any other questions?
Yeah, we'll provide a transcript for this section, Mike. I think there are a lot of comments. And
I can send it to you if you want to see the patterns.
Yeah. I mean the explanation in Spanish, but yeah, the notes are great as well, and we appreciate it.
Cool. I don't know how much time do we have. We done?
We have 2 more questions from
Okay.
the audience, and whatever more you want to go.
Sure.
Yeah. So the question is, have you ever tried to place the hi-hats in the right-hand side instead of the left? Abraham has found it easy and more comfortable to play.
You mean open-handed drumming?
Yeah.
Like that? Yeah, sometimes I do it. Sometimes I do it, but not on the level of Simon Phillips. It's funny, as I've gotten older, I've started to do more on the hi-hat like this when I play a beat. I'll hit the hi-hat like that. But it's not something, I mean, I don't feel as comfortable with it. I can play 8 notes or quarter notes, but if you start doing stuff like that, I'm not going to do that with my left hand. It requires a lot of practice. Simon Phillips is the master of open-handed drumming. Fantastic. But there's a lot of guys out there doing it now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Carlos, do you want to provide some comments on what
bueno, Mike menciona que ha intentado tocar de repente con el hi-hat del lado izquierdo, con open-handed. Que pues, sí lo he intentado, no le resulta tan cómodo, que el que es el maestro en eso es Simon Phillips de Toto, pero sí lo ha experimentado, ¿no? Básicamente.
Okay, perfect. So the next question from Ruben is, personally, he suffers from stage fright. So what's your advice before showing up to control nervousness?
Yeah, well, I think everybody gets nervous. Um, I remember when the first time I ever played in front of people, I really felt bad. I felt very sick. I was afraid, you know, because you sit down, especially if you're going to play drums all by yourself. You sit down and all you see is all the eyes looking at you. Everyone's like, okay, come on, do it, you know. So that's a lot of pressure. Do you want to translate that?
Sí, pues bueno, a él también lo ha sentido y pues la impresión de tener tantos ojos mirándote cuando llegas al escenario y ves el auditorio, pues es impresionante y es algo pues normal.
Mm-hmm. The first thing is you have to relax your mind, because music is a very mental process. Okay, so if you're in a good mental state, you calm yourself down. If you're prepared, you know the music, you're technically able to play everything, you're going to be okay. You know what I mean? If you didn't do your homework, then you might have some problems. But I've always been a person that practices a lot and always try to be really prepared, so that when I play live, I'm not like, oh God, I'm nervous. I'm like, no, let's play. I want to show people, you know? So that's the difference between being prepared and having the proper mindset. Of course, before you go on stage, you always have a little bit of butterflies, because it's fun. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how the audience is going to be. But I have to say now, at the tender age of 64, I don't really get nervous anymore. It's like, for me, it's normal to have people there. You know what I mean? It's good. It's good when there's people there. So you shouldn't be nervous. You're there to entertain people, so enjoy it. You have to mentally prepare yourself. And also, I think the more experience, this is the strange thing. I think a lot of young people, they're playing to the camera, you know? That's not an audience. An audience, you can hear them, you can see them, they can see you. And when you have a lot of live experience, you start to feel more comfortable and not get nervous. So for younger people, it's hard now to play live. There's not so many places to play live. I played 5 nights a week when I was living in New York, playing in a cover band. Always people, drunk people, nasty people, people that throw stuff. But that's part of playing in the bars. That's called paying your dues. And that shapes you as a player. It's important.
Sí, bueno, pues aquí Mike comenta que, pues, además de esto, pues el estar tocando en vivo, en bares, fue algo que también lo fogueó mucho, y que pues tocaba 5 veces a la semana. En el caso de los bares, pues había personas que estaban pasadas de copas y algunos que aventaban cosas al escenario y demás, y pues es algo que también le ha ayudado a acostumbrarse a estar con la gente y a lidiar en algunas ocasiones con situaciones difíciles y inesperadas, ¿no? Y que, bueno, ya a su edad, pues toda esta exposición no le impone, por el tema que ha trabajado en su preparación, y por otro lado, reconoce el que se encuentra en el escenario, pues para poder hacer que las personas disfruten de la música, y entonces esa es la vocación a la que se conecta. Y pues estar relajado, preparado, conocer la música, tener la técnica, pues son los elementos que dan la certeza de que uno está con los recursos para presentarse en la situación musical.
Yeah, also, I think for young people, like when you play a drum solo and you don't have a lot of experience, this is something where you have to go into yourself and relax. You have to stay loose. You have to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to express myself no matter what's going on out there. You have to ignore that. And then also you still have to participate with the audience. You have to connect with them, but in another way, you kind of have to go into your own zone. You know what I mean? It's a strange way to approach live playing. A lot of times when I'm doing a drum solo, there could be a couple thousand people out there, but I'm playing for myself. And then I'll come out of that and I'll involve them, and then I go back into myself. It's weird, but that's the technique that I've developed to feel comfortable. Yeah, it's not easy.
Bueno, esto que menciona Mike, que es complicado, como porque uno tiene que mentalizarse y tocar para sí mismo, estar en su zona, pero a la vez también tiene que interactuar con los demás, no puede estar también completamente aislado y disociado de los demás, ¿no? Pero porque a veces va a tocar un solo ante un par de miles de personas, y que justo es ese poderse meter, interiorizarse, estar seguro de lo que él sabe, de lo que él hace, y sobre todo tocar para él, como tocar para él, disfrutarlo, así es, tocar para él, y después como intentar abrirse un poco hacia los demás, pero siempre como tener en cuenta eso y regresar a este espacio para sí mismo.
Yeah, I would just say about being nervous, if you're really nervous and you make a mistake, then you're thinking about the mistake, and then you make another mistake. I was like, oh God, now I made 2 mistakes. And it builds. You have to let it go. If you make a mistake, you know you made a mistake. Maybe someone in the band knows, but you go on. Smile and go on. And stay relaxed. You have to keep your mind relaxed, keep your body relaxed. If you tense up, you're not going to make good music. And the people can sense that as well. The audience can sense that. So this takes years and years of experience, I think, playing, because I do remember getting nervous when I was younger. And but then I think I did so many shows that it didn't matter anymore. It became very natural to play in front of people, to do a drum solo. And then, of course, there's another level of soloing, which is improvisation. You start to take chances. Sometimes I would almost be like practicing some stuff in front of an audience. I was that comfortable. And that's when you know that you're in your zone, you're in the comfort zone. Not practicing like, oh, I'm learning a lick, but trying new ideas in front of an audience. This is a risk. Or you drop a stick, grab another stick, and keep going, you know? You can't stop. That's the worst thing you can do.
Y pues aquí Mike nos comenta respecto a situaciones donde si estamos nerviosos y cometemos un error, en ocasiones nuestra mente se queda conectada con ese evento y entonces empezamos a cometer más errores. Entonces, lo que sugiere es el que dejemos pasar el hecho que haya ocurrido ese error para reconectarnos con la música, sonriendo, continuando y buscando mantener la relajación, porque el mantenerse tenso es algo que es un obstáculo para hacer la música mejor, y lo pueden percibir nuestros compañeros de la banda o la audiencia. Y bueno, pues ya al estar ya con una mayor bagaje, lo voy a llamar así, de experiencia y de técnicas y sobre todo de comodidad con la audiencia, Mike se da la oportunidad también de improvisar y de experimentar nuevas ideas musicales. Es decir, no es practicar cosas de técnica dentro de un show, sino más bien es dejar que fluya un lenguaje que es resultado de todo lo que se ha trabajado y desarrollado.
And also, I mean, you can be nervous in the recording studio, or you can be nervous in front of a camera. You know, if you have to do some tricks, and you're in front of a camera, you see the light go on, it's like, oh, no, I have to do this in front of the camera, or I'm going to record this and it's going to be there forever. If you start thinking like that, you'll kind of psych yourself out. So you have to almost forget about the camera, or forget that you're being recorded. The studio is the recording studio really separates the men from the boys, I have to say. It's another world. That's not like playing live. There's a lot of pressure, different kind of pressure. You're performing for the microphones. And of course, some of the greatest drummers in the world are guys like Jeff Porcaro or Jim Keltner, J.R. Robinson. These guys go into the studio and they perform for the microphones. It's a different audience. It's a much more, it's a harder audience, that's for sure. Yeah. It's a balance. You have to find your way.
Menciona también de que puede ser que los nervios aparezcan frente a la cámara o en el estudio de grabación al grabar, sí, que ahí la audiencia son los micrófonos y que pues es una presión mayor, pero que uno no puede estar pensando en que esto que voy a tocar va a quedar registrado y se va a quedar ahí grabado de por vida, y porque entonces nos volvemos locos, que uno tiene que como que hasta intentar olvidarse que está esa cámara, que ahí están esos micrófonos, que menciona también que los bateristas que hacen carrera como músicos de sesión en el estudio, pues eso es lo que separa, menciona a los hombres de los niños, ¿no? Que eso es un reto mucho mayor. Y pues sí, que es otra cosa completamente que tocar en vivo.
Yeah, I would have to say experience is the best teacher. Many times I've recorded a live DVD with a band, and the only thing that they keep from the recording is the crowd noise and the drums. And then the guitar player comes in and plays everything. The singer, they re-sing everything, but the drums they keep. So this is an extra added pressure when you record live concert footage.
Sí, pues muy interesante ahí, que comparte Mike, que pues la experiencia es el mejor maestro, y que pues en el caso de grabaciones de conciertos en vivo, que usualmente se mantiene el audio de la audiencia y de la batería, y que pues el resto de los instrumentos y las voces son grabadas posteriormente, ¿no? Entonces eso pues es lo que pues impone también un reto adicional, pensando pues en grabaciones de este tipo.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to learn.
Pues no sé si tenemos ya más preguntas, sino para ir cerrando. Hugo Díaz pregunta, Hugo Díaz asks about your drumsticks. We've covered that before. Well, he asks, what size of drumsticks do you use? But I don't know if maybe, because you have your signature model, I don't know if you use any other model apart from that one.
No, the only other stick that I used from Vic Firth was a stick called the SD4, which is a little bit shorter and a little bit thinner. And it's made from maple. That was many years ago. I think for the past 25 years, I've been playing this model, my signature model, which I'm very lucky to have.
Bueno, menciona Mike que de los últimos 25 años, el único modelo de baquetas que ha utilizado es un modelo Signature, y que además de ese llegó a utilizar el SD4 también de Big Firth, que es un poquito más corto, cambian y es de maple, que es justo lo que nos había comentado hace unos minutos.
Yeah, the stick. I mean,
Go ahead, Mike.
I'm sorry. I mean, this is what connects you to the instrument. It's probably one of the most important. Next to the pedals, this is what you connect with. So it's very important that you feel good with the stick. I mean, after 25 years of using this stick, it's like part of my hand. It's like part of my body. It's cool. I like it.
Excelente. Y bueno, pues ahí Mike nos comenta que la baqueta pues es lo que te conecta con el instrumento, junto con los pedales, y entonces eso es lo que pues, también hace que sean un factor fundamental pues, para el tema de la producción de la música. Excelente. Pues ya estamos prácticamente pues, en el plano para ir cerrando las conclusiones y esta sesión. Entonces, pues vamos a tomar el tiempo para quienes lo deseen de hacer una foto de grupo. Entonces, quienes quieran participar en la foto, pues les invito a que activen su cámara. Y vamos a hacer 2 tomas, una toma más formal y luego la otra toma más con actitud, aquí con todo lo que nos ha enseñado y compartido Mike. Entonces, voy a dar unos segundos más para quienes necesiten prepararse en la ocasión para ya estar también aquí presentes. Y bueno, pues agradecerles a todos que nos han acompañado el día de hoy, pues también de diferentes países, por ahí Rujan, pues desde la India, Rubén, pues que se encuentra en Ecuador y que viene de Venezuela, pues entonces bienvenidos a todos también. Entonces, bueno, vamos a dar unos segundos más ahí para Abraham, que está en los preparativos. Y listo, pues vamos a tomar la primera toma. Voy a contar a 3, 1, 2, 3. Perfecto, entonces voy a tomar aquí ya la captura. Y vamos a tomar una segunda, pues ya con más actitud como nos proyecta Mike. Entonces vamos a contar 1, 2, 3. Ahí está, súper.
Rock and roll.
Exacto. Bueno, voy a compartir pantalla para unos avisos adicionales. Entonces, déjenme nada más aquí poner las láminas correctas. Y vamos a aquí compartir la pantalla, nada más un segundo.
Oh, that was it.
Bueno, pues aquí vamos a compartirles algunos recursos. Before saying goodbye, and there are some goodbye comments as well, Mike, I just want to remind people about a couple topics. Pues lo primero es invitarlos a continuar conectados con nosotros aquí en el capítulo México de Percussive Art Society. Les voy a compartir las ligas donde ustedes van a poder seguir las actividades que estamos realizando. Y también les voy a compartir de una vez y cuando se cierre el Zoom van a poder encontrar la encuesta y pues vamos a agradecer todos sus comentarios ahí. Entonces, bueno, creo que eso era nada más esta parte ahí de los recordatorios. Y Mike, we are going to share some of the comments from participants of this wonderful session. So Hugo Diaz says, thank you. Rubén Garrido, God bless you, Mike.
Oh, thank you.
Rujan, you're the real GOAT. Abraham says, thank you, Mike. You rock. And Hugo, thanks to those who organized this, to the participants, and Mike for all your wisdom and for sharing it. Thank you, Mike. I'm your follower in Instagram, and I love your content. Abraham, such an inspiring chat. And yeah, I guess from questions and comments, that's what I have right now today.
Okay.
Mike, anything you want to add about this session and your experience here?
Well, I'd just like to say thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure. And I'd like to thank everybody who's there watching me. Best wishes. Good luck. Buena suerte, amigos. Keep rocking. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
And thanks to Carlos as well for conducting and being co-host for this wonderful session. So I'll stop the recording.
Okay.
We'll just be around for a couple minutes more. So thanks everybody. Muchas gracias a todos por participar el día de hoy. Y los invitamos a las siguientes actividades que tengamos en el capítulo.